Donald Trump is hosting Saturday Night Live this week with musical guest Sia. And because of equal time rules for television, Mr. Trump can only speak for 4 seconds in this promo.
So let me just say this. Ben Carson is a complete and total loser.
I wish there were some real men around here, you know?
Oh, you read my mind, girlfriend. I would kill for a real man.
Hi, ladies.
Oh, hi, Donald Trump.
Oh, nice to meet you.
This week, presidential candidate Donald Trump will be hosting Saturday Night Live, and I'm not supposed to say this, but he said I could be his running mate.
Cecily, did you hear? I'm Trump's VP.
I'm just shopping around. Hi, I'm Donald Trump, and I'll be hosting SNL with Sia.
And the ratings are gonna be huge. That's my Donald Trump.
How's that for a tease? The promo for SNL this weekend when Donald Trump hosts the show. But as with most things Trump, not everybody's happy about it. Hispanic groups went to 30 Rock in New York City, where SNL is taped, to protest Trump's appearance on the show. They call it the Dump the Trump rally. They're demanding NBC execs yank the presidential candidate from the lineup. The protesters say Trump's remarks about Hispanics have been divisive and hateful. Now, Trump was in New Hampshire Wednesday, where he officially filed to be on the state's ballot for the Republican presidential primary. And he told reporters NBC won't give in to protesters' demands because, what else would he say here? He's going to be ratings gold.
I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be, a lot of them are saying it's going to be one of the highest rated shows in their history. It's going to be a tremendous thing. I met with Lorne Michaels last night. We had dinner. And Saturday Night Live, you know, I did it like 11 years ago when The Apprentice was #1. It was doing so great. And they said, would you do Saturday Night Live? I did it. I had a lot of fun doing it. Became very friendly with Lorne and the group. And Lorne called me a week ago. I was going to do a skit, just a regular skit. And they said, Lorne, can we get Trump for a skit? They said, no, can we get him for the whole thing? So I'm hosting Saturday Night Live on Saturday.
Jason Abbruzzese is a Mashable business and media reporter. Okay, so the first thing is, NBC had said back when Donald Trump first threw his name into the presidential pot, that NBC said, due to the recent derogatory statements by Donald Trump regarding immigrants, NBC Universal is ending its business relationship with Trump. What happened?
I think then we saw a few debates with just incredible ratings. Trump has led in the polls, or is now one of the leading candidates in the polls for months now. And you actually have to also take into account Trump does have a personal relationship with Lorne Michaels. They've known each other for years. He's been on the show before. He's hosted the show before. So I think when it comes to this particular program, he gets a little bit of a pass when it comes to the rest of the disagreement with the NBC family.
Does Lorne Michaels get final say over even the NBC Universal executives?
Lorne is known to have a lot of pull there, and that SNL is somewhat of a standalone show. I'm sure that he has bosses like everybody does that probably can scuttle things, but they also realize that this is a big opportunity for them.
There have been very loud calls for NBC to stop this plan in place, and for the same reasons that NBC gave for ending its relationship. Could there be dire consequences?
And I just don't think so. I think that this is going to happen. It's going to be a news story for a few days afterwards as everybody passes the clips around the internet and enjoys it or hates it, depending on where you stand. And I think that everybody's going to kind of go on with their lives. This is the kind of thing that just don't see, staying in the news cycle long enough to really damage NBC or Trump.
The people who are out there protesting just say that racism isn't funny, that there's nothing comedic about it, that nobody should be talking about ratings gold for a guy who's making his name on the backs of other people. There's also an interesting conversation about equal time, which journalists a lot of times hear about. Here's the rule according to the U.S. Code. Candidates for public office. If any licensee shall permit any person who's legally qualified candidate for any public office to use a broadcasting station, he shall afford equal opportunities to all other such candidates for that office in the use of that broadcasting station. Now, it's something when I was growing up in local news, we talked about in our news meetings all the time. How do we cover fairly all the candidates in a race and not give too much news coverage to another one? What's the rule here when it's SNL?
So the rule here gets actually very, very particular. It's only for broadcast, so cable companies don't count. You know, if you appear on Comedy Central or anything like that, won't fall within this rule. And it's only on non-news shows. So news shows are given the leeway to kind of decide how much coverage and how to give it to each candidate. That actually doesn't fall within this particular rule. But what it does say is that if you appear on SNL, your candidates need to be able to, try to apply to get a similar amount of time. And we've actually seen this happen before on SNL. We saw it happen earlier this year when Hillary Clinton was on for one skit where she played the bartender. I think most people have probably seen that by now. Lawrence Lessig, a lawyer at Harvard who had previously been running for president, applied to a bunch of affiliates and basically said, like, hey, I deserve equal time. The affiliates turned around and said, you need to prove to us that you're a legitimate candidate. This gets into the minutia of how the rules enforced.
Fundraising,
exactly.
right, and all of that.
So it's not something that happens a lot, but it does happen occasionally, and actually seems to happen on SNL a reasonable amount.
Jason, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Sure.